Hey there. Hello and welcome to Intuitive Connection. I'm your host, intuitive counselor and spiritual channel, Victoria Shaw. And today I wanted to share a question that I got this past weekend at a big event where I was doing intuitive readings, and I did not get to answer all of the questions that people posed to me. And those of you who haven't been to my events, when I do these bigger group readings, what I love to do is have everybody write down their questions on a little piece of paper, and then I can, kind of pick which ones come out. It frees me up of the responsibility of having to choose. And that way I also get all these questions that I can take home with me later. And sometimes I can answer them on the show. And so that's what I'm going to do today. And I have a couple. I don't know if we're going to get to them all, or maybe, we'll get to them all, but maybe not in one episode. So the first one that came to me, looks like that, is from Kara. And Kara wanted to know, how can I reconnect with my divine path? And, I picked that question because I think that's something that a lot of people think about, right? That they feel like, I want to experience that connection, right, between myself and my higher self. I want to feel, right, aligned. I want to feel aligned with my divine path. And a lot of things in life can take us out of that feeling of connection. So that is what I'm going to talk about today. And before I tune into the guides, they're here. But before I give them the floor, I'm gonna take the microphone for a couple of seconds too, to say it's my understanding, informed by the guides and all of the learning that I have done, since I opened up my own intuitive channels and this intuitive connection about 16 years ago. But my understanding is life itself is your divine path, right? And so to some extent, and the guides they're right here along with me. So to some degree, right, just by having a human experience, just by being here, just by doing your thing, just by doing you, right, you're on the path. You know, it's like you can't not be on the path, right? You're always going to be there. That is just the nature of the experience, right? You're a divine being having a human experience. So there's no way to get lost, right? On the other hand, we do get lost all the time when we forget our spiritual origins, when we forget that we're a divine being having a human experience, and when we don't. I think what this person, what Kara is saying, when I don't feel that connection in my life, right? And sometimes too, we believe the divine path for us is some sort of predestined thing, right? So I have to know, like, okay, my spirit set out to do this thing, and my guides want me to do this thing, and God and source and my higher self have this plan, and how do I find it, and how do I align with it? And even talking like that is kind of crushing my vibe, right? And the reason that is because it ain't so. It's just not true. You are constantly co creating this experience in every moment. And when we feel aligned, and when we have that feeling about being on our path, and when we feel purposeful, all of those things, it's because we are vibing, right? We are vibing with our highest and truest selves in those moments of our lives. That's it. That's it. It's not a predetermined path you got to find, right? It's just coming home again and again to that space of alignment. That space of alignment when you can listen and ping your higher self, get the ping back, and then make your choices and decisions from there, right? Or even just feeling it, sometimes just feeling it is a really magical thing. So it is true. And I'm going to invite the guides in to nudge me now. It is true. I would say, based on what they've taught me so far, and they're not stopping me, that, when we come into a human world, the human world, we do have some intentions. We do have some things that we want to explore, right? And our guides are aware of that. Our higher self chose that, or attracted that. And so, of course, right, that there is an agenda, right? But that agenda is ever changing. And a lot of times too, as we experience life more and more, as we gather more data from the perspective of what, Victoria Shaw or whatever personality you are playing today, right? As we gather more information about the human experience through these human eyeballs, right? The plan will often change. It'll often change. And we are constantly sending out pings, sending out signals, intentions, desires, and the universe is constantly responding to that. And so, a lot of times, too, when we think about the divine path, it's really about getting in alignment so that we can receive the things that we have and the desires and the ideas and all that good stuff that we have put out, right? So again, that feeling of being on my divine path is really a feeling of being in alignment. Makes sense so far? But I'm going to tune into the specific person who asked this question. Okay. And I'm going to tune into her because I think, she might be listening to this. Kara, if you're listening to this and you asked me this question at the beautiful Galentine's Day event at Cactus Blossom Retreat. And I don't know when this one's going to go live. It's definitely not going to go live this week. So this might be months from now. But nonetheless, if you are listening, I am going to feel into you, particularly because I feel that this is going to be the question that you're asking and the energy from which you're asking it will be very helpful for some of our listeners as well. So I'm going to tune into Kara's energy. And what Kara is telling me is that there's a feeling a lot of times that she's not doing what she's supposed to do, that she's not doing what she's supposed to do, that she's sort of lost her connection to spirit. She's lost her connection to the magic. She's lost her connection to the fun, and she doesn't know how to get back. I also get the sense that right now things in her life are not as she wants them to be. Maybe it's a job that she's not super enthused about, or a lack of a romantic partnership. For her, I feel like it's more her doing in her friendships, right? Or maybe it's your health, right? But there's some feeling that when I feel that little bit of feeling lost, feeling misaligned, and I know I could be feeling it, right? I know I could feel good. I know I could be on a path that feels rewarding. I know I could be doing the meditations again and reading the spiritual books and like feeling that vibe, that sense of deep knowing that all is well, right? And maybe right now she's a little off that path. So for you, Kara, and for everybody else out there, I want to receive from the guides some things that you can do, general things to help you feel more aligned, to help you feel more on your path. The first thing, of course, the guides say from the perspective of the law of attraction is we always want to look for examples of alignment, right? Rather than focusing on how we can solve the misalignment, right? This is an attraction based universe, as Abraham Hicks often says, right? So basically, whatever you focus on is what you get. Okay. So if you're focusing on something you don't like, it doesn't make it go away, right? It means if you focus on it, it's what you get. Right. And so the more we can focus, and it's okay, of course, there's nothing wrong with, identifying a problem. That's part of life. Like there are things we're going to like, there's things we're not going to like. There are things in my life right now that I'm like, and I'm aware of them. Right. And then I after I get that 411 and the universe now knows that I feel this way because it is a responsive universe. I also, focus my energy on things that make me feel good because I know that will be my point of attracting those things that feel like they are lacking. Right. And so it's the same thing with this question, with Kara's question, right? When I feel off my path, what I really want to do is tap into the ways that I already feel like I'm on my path. Right? Maybe it's just remembering that I'm a soul having a human experience, right? Maybe it's just taking some effort to do some things that make me feel really good and aligned, like reading a spiritual book, going to a spiritual book group, hanging out with other people that are on the path, right? If that's the kind of thing, maybe a meditation practice or maybe some ecstatic dance or whatever it is that makes you feel like I'm a spiritual being having a human experience and it's fun. Those are some of the things that you can definitely do. If the question is coming more from the place of, I feel like there's something I'm supposed to be doing and I don't know what it is, help me, help me, help me, right? That can sometimes be a question for your intuition, right? That can be a question to kind of quiet the mind. Actually, that question like stirred up my energy. And that's a big one that a lot of people get too, right? So you feel like maybe like I know there's something there and I know I'm a little bit off of what's happening now doesn't feel good. And I feel like there's a path that would feel better. How do I find it? All right. So that would be another embedded question in there. And I would say the answer to that one is kind of threefold, right? Number one, again, noticing where you are on the path, what does feel good, and spending more time and attention on that will naturally orient you with your path. When we follow what excites us, when we follow what inspires us, when we follow what we're curious about, and when we do the things that make us feel good, right? It's almost like we'll get more invitations for the universe to do more of the same. That is actually your guidance system at work, right? What feels good is usually good. It's usually good. So following your excitement, right? Following the things that, really energize you, the things that you're curious about, tapping into that more and more. And if you don't know, because sometimes, we have just become so disconnected from ourselves that we don't even know what will make us happy anymore. You can start with just things that make you feel a little less worse, right? Right. And then little by little, you'll find yourself back in the flow and you'll find yourself pursuing and discovering those things that really like light you up. Okay. So that is a piece of the puzzle, right? And it does not have to be on the topic that you're seeking about, right? So if you're like, I hate my job and I want a job that feels more aligned, and your spirit or soul is saying, I'd like to go and do some painting or do some dancing, or I really used to love swimming. I'd like to start swimming again. And you pursue those things. It does not mean necessarily that the universe is calling you to become an Olympic swimmer. Maybe. Who knows? Right. But sometimes it's just that when we're in the flow and doing things that we enjoy, everything else in our lives joins us in the flow eventually. Okay. Because that's just how it works. So you don't have to necessarily respond to the problem itself or try to, change there. It's just about redirecting your attention to the things that feel good and then letting everything else fall into place. And it will. The second piece, of course, and this is what this podcast is all about, and there's a reason for that, is to allow your intuition to flow. And by the way, if you're in the flow and you're following the things that excite you, you're tuning into what brings you joy and you're following your curiosity, you are already connected with your intuition right there because your intuition is guiding you through all of that 1000%, right? Those nudges, those areas where you feel pulled or drawn, that's your intuition at work. That's your soul speaking to you. And oftentimes your soul does speak to you through these amazing moments of inspiration. Right. It's also really important too to hear the intuition, right? And to follow that divine path is that we learn to quiet the mind, right? Because the mind has all sorts of ideas about what, that path will be. And the mind also might be just constantly haranguing you about how you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, right? Which will not make you feel better. FYI. So, right. So, learning to quiet the mind so we can listen to that deeper calling is really important. Now, sometimes your intuition won't come through in a full sentence. It won't say, in order to be on your divine path, please follow these 10 points, right? Sometimes it will. But most of the time, it's going to give you the little breadcrumbs, the little nudges, the little aha moments, right? And you follow them and you listen to them and you trust them and you allow them wherever they come, right? And they will guide you every single time, right? You might have a random idea pop into your head, right? Or you might think, oh, maybe I should call so and so, right? Or you may, you know, remember a dream that you had when you were a child and say, you know what, I forgot about that. I want to be thinking about that again, right? And the guides are knocking on my shoulder and saying these things can be really, really, really subtle, right? And so, again, it's not necessarily the big fireworks. Intuition can be very gentle, very subtle, but it's always nudging us and guiding us. So, when we learn to listen to that, when we learn to quiet the mind, right, we will let what Abraham Hicks calls our inner being guide us. Right. And I think of your inner being as your true self, as your higher self, as your inspiration, and as your intuition. All right. And I promised a third step. I know I did. So I'm going to ask the guides what that is. And the third step they say is trust in yourself, and trust in the process. Because so often we're beating ourselves up saying, how did I get off my path? Where's my path? I can't find my path. Right. Or we're beating up life, you know, life. Why do you keep doing this to me? Right. But when we come from that place of faith, that place of trust, that place of allowing and say, sweet human, you got this. You're figuring this out as you go along. That's how you're supposed to do it. It's beautiful. You are beautiful. One little breadcrumb at a time, we get ourselves back into alignment, right, with our higher, truer selves. And then we'll start listening again and following again. Right. And so that self trust is so important. The other reason why the self trust is so important is because the reason you lost your way in the first place. And again, we don't always lose our way completely. Usually we just meander around, kind of weaving on and off of the path. And again, you are the path. So, this is metaphorically speaking, because literally you are the path. You are a spiritual being having a human experience, and whatever path you're walking, my friend, is just right. This is just about feeling the rightness of it more and more and more. And you can do that, right, by trusting in yourself, trusting that I got this, trusting that everything that's happening is happening for me, with me, right? That there's a benefit in everything, even if I can't see it, that I'm not messing anything up. I'm just discovering and exploring in the best possible way, right? That's how we align with the divine. And that's how we can feel a little bit more on our path. Now, I'm about to wrap this one up, but the person who asked this question is coming back to me. And she's like, but I have specific questions, Victoria. I want to know about my work. I want to know about this. I used to be somebody, I'm reading her right now, but I used to be somebody who so believed in this stuff. And now I feel just a little bit lost. I feel a little bit disconnected. I feel a little bit not at peace. So I'm going to give her a big hug. Because the other thing that to remember, and I'm going to say this to our Kara as I say it to all of you, is you are divine. You are divine. You are lovable. You are beautiful, right? And whatever is going on in your life, if it feels so hard that right now you can't see beyond it, right? In those moments, trust in your higher self, trust in your soul as much as you can. That's what faith is about. It's about, I don't know how, I don't understand it, but I trust. And then do whatever you can to be kind to yourself, to love yourself, to soothe yourself, and to know wherever you are really, truly doing just fine. You're doing just fine, and you'll get this. Listen to your intuition, right? Quiet the mind, follow the flow and the things that excite you. And when you're feeling a little bit despondent, give yourself a big old hug and a kiss. We'll demonstrate because it feels so good. I'm going to do it again. And know that you are divine. All right. So that's it. That's all I got for this one. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. I think it's a question that so many people come to me for. And of course, if Kara was sitting next to me, it's very possible that the guides would give her specific steps towards her question, because a lot of times when we're asking about reconnecting with our divine path, in our minds at least, we do have these very concrete ideas of what that might look like. Is it a partner? Is it a path? Is it work that we're doing? Or is it just feeling good? So if I had her here, I could ask her those questions and the guides could answer those specifically for her. But in general, I hope that she will listen to this and find it helpful. And I hope that you will too. And remember too that I do give intuitive readings and coaching and guidance sessions to folks all over the world. And in those situations, the guides will also answer, sorry, will also answer, that's what I'm trying to say, your specific questions as well to the best of their ability and, to the extent that it's going to be of service. So you can find out information about that on my website, which is victoriashawintuitive.com. So check that out and find out more there. And I do also offer these group readings to folks all over the world, both in person and soon to be online. So get on the mailing list so that you can hear about those too. I will be traveling a lot this year, so I hope I will be coming somewhere near you, and would love to meet you all. And in the meantime, just keep tuning in. Just keep tuning in, because I say it every time and I mean it every time. I'm just so grateful to each and every one of you. It is such an honor and a blessing to be able to serve in this way and be a mouthpiece for the guides, for your guides, for your higher selves, for all of the good stuff. It's such a gift. I love each and every one of you, and just sending you a bunch of love. Enjoy the rest of your day, and namaste.